Assalamu alaikum. Great. Well, good afternoon. My name is Stacy McCorkle. I am here representing the economic section of the U.S. Embassy here in Islamabad, and I am thrilled to be back at the Incubation Center. It's been a few months at least since I was last at NIC, and I'm thrilled to be back doing a collaborative effort with the organization. And I am so pleased to see all the interest in this really important and timely topic. And a huge thank you to NIC Islamabad for hosting this Speak Air event. It's our U.S. speaker program in honor of the Global Entrepreneurship Week. I really want to welcome our speaker, Oscar Garcia, who is here from the United States and has come all this way just to help us celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week. The aim of Global Entrepreneurship Week, or GEW, is to celebrate the innovators and job creators who continue to bring ideas to life, drive economic growth, and expand human welfare in their communities. Leaders just like yourselves. That is why the United States, is proud to cooperate with organizations like the National Incubation Center to facilitate activities and opportunities for innovators and working groups locally and throughout Pakistan. It's through these partnerships that we work to facilitate networking, gatherings, and connect participants to potential collaborators, mentors, and investors, introducing them to new possibilities and exciting opportunities. The United States aims to support innovators, entrepreneurs, and students working hard to make a positive impact in their communities and their economies. The United States values our long history with Pakistan. We have a long-standing cooperation, and this year we're celebrating the 75th anniversary of U.S.-Pakistan bilateral relations. And this is a relationship that is endured because it is built on common interests. The U.S. government shares Pakistan's mutual desire for increased economic, investment, and trade cooperation that will benefit both of our countries and the region. In October, Ambassador Blom announced the U.S.-Pakistan Green Alliance, which aims to foster sustainable economic growth throughout Pakistan. We look forward to cooperating to improve access to renewable energy, address climate crises, and increase agricultural trade and expand commerce between our countries. And none of this is possible without people like you. It's your innovation, your talent, and efforts that help drive economic progress, which is why I hope that the experiences and the sharings that you hear today will continue to inspire you to engage on the local, the national, and the global levels, and help you to take your next entrepreneurial steps. And to help kick things off, I would like to introduce an industry leader who has dedicated his time and energy to help businesses and organizations take that next step. Mr. Oscar Garcia is the founder and chief empowerment officer at Aspira, which is a Silicon Valley-based consulting and training firm, which focuses on brand, business, marketing, and career coaching. Oscar is a professional speaker on pitching, professional branding, LinkedIn training, in authentic leadership and career development. As part of the U.S. speaker program, Oscar travels the world sharing his experience. And when we invited him to Pakistan, he jumped at the opportunity. He knew, just like we do, that the vibrancy of the entrepreneurship spirit here in Pakistan is huge, and that the potential and growth here is phenomenal, which will not only strengthen Pakistan, but will also strengthen our bilateral relationship. So please help me welcome Mr. Oscar Garcia.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, I think you can. Okay, I'm not. I didn't say anything. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. I think there's also an audience right online, so I got to make sure that I'm. Hello, everyone. But thank you, Stacy. Thank you to the NIC Center. Thank you to all of you that are here and then also online today. I'm going to be talking about the art of building the professional brand. Now, I see maybe two of you that has a notebook. The rest of you, either pull out your cell phone or have the person that has a notebook give you a piece of paper because I want you to take some notes. I didn't come here to listen to myself speak. Okay? I didn't travel 22 hours on a flight. I was telling Stacy, finally, last night, I think my body is adjusted to the 13-hour time difference because I was able to sleep through. Okay. Let's get into it. So, before we begin, let me tell you a little bit about my background, my story, so that you understand what I share with you comes from personal experience. Not because I watched some YouTube video, not because I listened to a very smart professor, but it's because I've lived the experience. I have the scars and the bruises of overcoming some of these challenges. So let me tell you a little bit about my career journey. First off, I worked in the tech industry, Silicon Valley. Small city called Mountain View. Most people don't know Mountain View, but that's where Google is headquartered. WhatsApp has their office there. Facebook has an office there, et cetera. I worked in the tech industry for 12 years, and contrary to popular belief, most startups go out of business. And so, right, or if they do get acquired, the few, oftentimes they lay employees off, or the only people that they might keep are software developers. I was in sales and marketing. We're like, there's a door, Oscar, bye-bye. But the most I've ever been out of a job has been 6 weeks because I learned how to network. This was before the internet, really. I'm 53 years old. 30 years ago this year, I graduated from college. There was no internet the way there was no Facebook, social media. The traditional networking was like, hi, I'm Oscar Garcia. Also, I have been hired without having any experience. Think about that. Most of the time, we're told if you see a job, look to make sure that you qualify for the opportunity. Otherwise, if you don't, then don't. I got sick and tired of getting laid off. My family was young until we needed a little more financial stability. And my friend told me, you should apply for the Chamber of Commerce CEO position. Those of you that might not know what a Chamber of Commerce is, it's a business organization that supports local businesses. I said to my friend Maurice, I don't even know what a Chamber of Commerce does. Go ahead and apply, Oscar. I think you'll be qualified. I listened to my friend. I went ahead and applied. My competition had 25 years of chamber experience. She was the current interim chamber CEO, and the board loved her. I have a better chance of winning the lottery than I have gotten hired. And I got hired. And I tell you that because for me, and hopefully for you, it's a life lesson. If you want also, I've been in situations where they've created I spoke to my contact, and they, just a casual conversation, forgot about it. Like most times you talk to someone, you kind of forget about the conversation. 2 months later, she calls me, she says, good news. We have the position approved. Are you still interested? I said, yes. I went to go work for 1 year. It was a contract position, working part-time, earning almost 2.5 times more money than I did working 60, 70 hours as a chamber CEO. Who doesn't want to work less than work and earn 2.5 times more money? Anyone? Yeah, exactly, right? And then also companies recruiting me. Now you might be thinking, good for you, Oscar. Pat. Good for you that this has happened to you. I want to share with you also some of the obstacles that I've overcome. Number one, believe it or not, English is my second language. I was born in California. My parents are Mexican. They passed away almost 8 years ago. A month after I was born, we moved back to Mexico. We lived there until I was 5 years old. And then my parents said, we're going to go back to California, live and work for a year, save money, and then we will return to Mexico. We never did. Now, I started school, kindergarten, at a young age, not speaking any English, but when you're little, you know, it's easier to take off a headset. Okay. And so when you're little, it's easier to learn another language. Now, as soon as I learned though how to speak English, I became my parents' translator until they passed away, like I said, almost 8 years ago. Also, low income. My father was a dishwasher. My mother was worked as a hotel maid. In California, public schools, they provide, if you're low income, free lunch. I was on that free, reduced lunch program. Also, in high school, I got all A's, good grades in my English class. And then I went off to college to University of California, Berkeley, one of the top public universities in the world. And they're like, Oscar, your English and your writing skills is horrible. You need to go into a remedial English class. I was like, what? Did someone lie to me for like 4 years? Because I have the transcripts to prove to you that at least that's what they told me. My English and writing was really good. Nope, remedial. Talk about taking a hit in your self-image. My parents, my dad, first grade education. My dad was illiterate. My mother, middle school education, 8th grade. I told you they didn't speak English. I couldn't even go to my parents and ask them to help me with my 3rd grade math. Now, in case you don't know this, the numbers in English and the numbers in Spanish are the same. And they couldn't help me with my homework. And then lastly, my natural personality is an introvert. What? How can that be, Oscar? You're an introvert? I'm going to tell you something. We have this misconception that anyone that does public speaking must be an extrovert. That's not true. If you're an introvert, you can do public speaking. One of the main differences, though, as an introvert, when we are done public speaking, we're tired. We're like a balloon. You take the air out and you're like, where's this one? And I have one more talk to do after this one. Okay. But I share with you these obstacles because we all have a story to tell. We all have challenges to overcome. And you can either let those challenges hold you back, be an excuse, or I'm here to prove to you that your excuses are worthless. The choice is yours. Why is branding important? There's many reasons. I'm going to keep it really simple here. Number one, career growth. You want to know who's actually afraid of the economy, the employers? American employees. Because today, more so than ever, the pandemic has opened up the level of comfort to do virtual sessions, virtual business. See, oftentimes as I travel around the world and I talk to people like yourself, many of you want to go to the US and work. I'm going to tell you what I've actually done. The pandemic, my home is Silicon Valley, but I spend also part of my time living and working from the beaches of Mexico because I love the warm weather. I love the mountains. And the quality of life, actually, I love it. And so you have the ability to grow your career, whether you stay here, whether you go to America, definitely experience it.
But it's not like it necessarily you have to go anywhere. All I need is Wi-Fi in the ocean. Also for your business growth. See, today, anyone use LinkedIn here? Yeah, I love this about, this is something that I've come to realize and I love about you here in Pakistan. Many of you are on LinkedIn. In many other countries, I'm like, how many? Maybe 5 or 6 people. Raise your hand. I have the free version of LinkedIn. I've had it now for almost 4 years. You know, I changed credit cards, and so I forgot to update it. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to stay on the free version because I want to prove to people that you can grow your business even on the free version. And also by developing that brand, you get to attract opportunities. Those of you that are introverts can relate to this, especially. I don't like to sell. I don't like to beg you to buy my product or service. Instead, I'm going to create such a strong brand that I'm going to attract you to ask me. I don't mean this out of disrespect to the U.S. Embassy, but I did not come to the U.S. Embassy and say, can I come and speak at NIC? They contacted me. Who doesn't want to be in that position? Right? I mentioned to you about remote work. You know, I actually have my staff, my team, excuse me. I have 2 people from Pakistan that work with me, doing some video editing, remote work. I don't care where they work, as long as they get the job done. All right, let's talk about professional brand. I'm going to tell you something too. Sometimes people ask, what's the difference between personal and professional brand? You know, in my opinion, it's the same thing. It is. I'm Oscar Garcia, amped up, fired up right now. And you're going to see Oscar Garcia later, you know, we're going to go out to dinner and I'm going to change into jeans. I'm going to be amped up, you know, positive, period. I don't have time to be having a personal Facebook account, personal Instagram. I don't have time for that, nor do I want to invest my time into that. If you are, good for you. I'm not saying not to do it. All right. I like to keep things very simple. Your brand, your professional brand is made up of 4 main things. That's it. Number 1, your image. Your image in terms of person to person and online. You are forming an impression of me as I am of you. You either like me, don't like me already. You're like, I think I have something else to do. I don't like this guy. Or I love Oscar already. Same thing online. If I go onto your Instagram account, your LinkedIn account, and you tell me that you are the vice president of marketing or et cetera and so forth, and I look at what you are sharing and all you are sharing is what you had for lunch, I'm like, really? First impressions. Here's the thing. We have the ability to influence also people's. We all have biases. I get that. But we also have the ability to influence that first impression. Number 2, your mission. And in this case is your why. Why do you do what you do? I'm going to get into it here in a minute here. Number 3, your values. What do you stand for? What are you not willing to compromise? And if you can also align your business values to your personal values, even a much stronger brand. See, in the US, sometimes I see these companies that are like transparency, vulnerability, et cetera, and so forth. And then I go to the CEOs or the executives' bio page, graduated from UC Berkeley, Stanford University, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, where's the vulnerability? You go onto my website, go on there right now, aspiraconsulting.com, ASPIRA consulting.com. And you know where I start off with? Telling you all my failures. How people used to make fun of me for not being able to speak English correctly. I'm not here to impress you with my titles. I'm here to share with you my imperfections and inspire you. You do what you want to do. And then lastly, your vision. Where are you going? What do you want to accomplish? And can you tell that story? See, in Silicon Valley, some of these entrepreneur startups are really good at not just creating the vision, but at selling the story. Let me give you an example. About 15, 16 years ago, these two entrepreneurs are going to these venture capitalists, and they're like, here's our idea. We're going to get strangers to use their car to pick up strangers and drop them off at a strange location. Do you want to invest in our company? What company am I talking about? Yes. Think about that. My kids now are adults, but when they were little, their mother and I would have talked with our kids. Don't you ever get into a car with a stranger. And today I have friends, the kids want to go off to school. Mom, dad don't want to, whatever, take him. Like, I'm going to call an Uber for you, son. I'm like, this is crazy. We're now allowing our kids to get into a car with a stranger. But you see the power of creating a vision and selling it? Folks, I honestly could just finish my talk right now. And if you just get good at doing these 4 things, superpower, amazing. This is what I've done, folks. All right. I want to start off first with talking about your why, your mission, this part of it here. Very important. So, have we heard of an elevator pitch? Right? The elevator pitch is the quick statement. You meet someone, what do? And then whatever, 15, 20 seconds, you give him your elevator pitch. This is not an elevator pitch. This is one piece, but very critical piece of the elevator pitch. It's the why statement. So when I worked at the Chamber of Commerce, you asked me what I did. This was my answer. I'm the president and CEO of the Mountain View Chamber of Commerce. We support and advocate on behalf of our members to create a more robust business community. What? That is so boring. That's so corporate. I told you Google is there. I remember seeing Google when it was honestly just a very small company. Now they own half of the city. I'm like, do you think I was responsible for Google coming to Mountain View? No. I encourage you to watch a TEDx talk, YouTube, called The Golden Circle, Simon Sinek. And he compares companies like IBM, Dell, Apple. I would even include Samsung. And he says when companies like IBM, Dell, or Samsung come out with a new product or service, they start off with either the what or the how of their product. But Apple starts with why, the emotion, the experience. And I thought about this, like, this is interesting because in the US, when you see a billboard ad for Apple, all you see is a picture of the new iPhone, the name of the iPhone, and then maybe the company, the cell phone company paid for it. That's it. When was the last time you heard or saw a line forming the day before, let alone a week before the release of the Samsung Galaxy? But for Apple products, yes. Lead with why, folks. Let me show you an example of what I mean. Sometimes I talk to people, right? Like you do in a setting like this. Hey, what's your name? I'm Oscar Garcia, et cetera. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a marketing specialist. What does that mean, marketing specialist? But we're polite. We're like, oh, okay. Like we pretend we know what they're talking about. Right? What if instead you said this? What do? I bring clarity to marketing mumbo jumbo. Like, and I know this is not the perfect answer, but looking at your reaction, seeing this, right? You're like, that's kind of different. It's intriguing. It gets you wanting to be like, tell me more. What do you mean? And see, that's what you want from that why statement, that intrigue. Tell me more. Not like, I'm a marketing specialist. Oh, okay. Here's another one. You know any of these people? You're just laughing like, yeah, I'm one of them, Oscar. I love you, okay? I love you. But it's like, hey, what are you? I'm a software developer. I'm not a techie, okay? But what if you instead you answered it this way? I figure out how to build the unbuildable in tech. I have built the unbuildable in tech. I told you I'm not a techie person, even though I've worked in tech and so forth. But you tell me this, I'm like, again, intrigued. That's a different answer I never heard. I get it. Also, what is the perception of software developers? Are they introverts or extroverts? Introverts. So you have a software developer that gives you this answer. I don't know about you, but in my mind, I'm like, this person has a sense of humor. Or as we say in America, they're cool. See, this is my why. I empower you so opportunities come to you. I empower you so opportunities come to you. True story. About 6 years ago, I was listening to a speaker, kind of similar situation like this, standing room only. And, you know, you sometimes feel someone's presence, right? So I turn around and the dean of workforce development of one of the colleges was standing behind me. We were connected on LinkedIn. We hadn't spoken in, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months. And he's like, hey, Oscar, nice to meet you. Hey, so what are you up to today? Because he works with students, I changed it up a little bit. See, that's also the flexibility of knowing your audience and adapting your wide message to the audience. And I said, I empower students so opportunities come to them. How do you do that? I told him briefly, hey, Oscar, do you have a business card? And I said, yes, I do. Gave him my card, gets on his cell phone, emails his executive assistant and says, can you please schedule a meeting with Oscar? Because I want to talk to him about some opportunities with us. Again, I'm an introvert. Yet to use Silicon Valley terminology, I reversed engineered, I hacked. How do I attract opportunities? You see the importance and the power of having a strong mission. Why? You're coming back. There we go. Next, let's talk about your values. Okay, that's another area that's important. Yep, turned off. So, here's the thing, okay? I want you, if you haven't done so already, make a list of all your values, things that are important to you. You're probably going to come up with a list of 10, 15 different things. Once you come up with that list, I want you to identify the top 3, top 5 values that you are not going to compromise. This is it. For me, my top 3 is I help other people dream bigger, I inspire you, and I serve you. That's why, as an introvert, I'm able to A, get out of my comfort zone, B, travel 22 hours, takes me a week to get adjusted. This is why. Sometimes people ask me, Oscar, how do I stay motivated? Identify your core values. See, motivation by itself, it's like fuel on your motorcycle or in a car. It's temporary, it runs out. Like, I love meeting you, making new friends, but that runs out. But my core values, stay core. What are your core values? Next, your vision, right? I want to take a little different angle here in terms of helping you identify or translate your vision into either a career or business story. So, first off, if you want to create a very impactful story, career, business story, 3 things. Number 1 is identify your why. I talked about that. Number 2, who are you? What are some of your personality traits? Number 3, talk about either your current career journey or your vision. Sometimes I get people that are early in their career, young, and they're like, but Oscar, I really haven't done anything. Okay, well then talk about where you want to go. Do like Uber. Or some of you are I'm 53 years old, okay? I'm gonna live to 150, okay? I don't care to tell you about my age. Fired up, got more energy than all of you in here. Some of you are like 30 years younger than me. All right? But it's like, if you're looking to transition careers, you're like, yeah, but I'm looking to well, then narrow it down and adapt your message to the audience. Here's another way. Those of you that are kind of needing more information, I'm like, Oscar, you're being too simple, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me give you some more info here, okay? And I just gave you the appetizer. Let me give you the full meal. Talk about, like I said, your relevant journey. Who is that audience? Number two, like I said, your personality traits. Number three, talk about some of your accomplishments or rewards. Now, I will tell you something. In Mexican culture, talking about our accomplishments or awards is hard for us, because in Mexican culture, we are taught to be humble, to not brag. I remember my dad, son, let your actions speak louder than your words. Don't boast, don't brag. And you know, I agree with my dad, but there's a time and a place for everything. Can you imagine if Stacy came up here and be like, everyone, I want to introduce Oscar Garcia. He's the boringest, lousiest, horrible speaker. This is going to be his first talk, blah, 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 blah. They're like, why am I even here? This is a time for me to let you know how amazing I am. And I'm going to tell you something too. I don't need your approval or confirmation as to whether or not I'm amazing or not. Because as long as I believe I'm amazing, that's all that matters. Number four, be authentic. What does that mean? Especially in the US, we throw this word out like a frisbee. Be authentic. I'm going to tell you the OG, the Oscar Garcia version of being authentic. Number one, be real. Think of someone you highly admire and respect, and they share with you some of the challenges that they've gone through. What are the lessons they learned, how they overcame? Do you not have a newfound respect for that person? Yes or no? Yes. See, some of you try, again, to impress people based on your title and this and that. I'm going to tell you something. We're all going to leave. We're all going in the same direction eventually out of this world. This is the OG. They told me, they're like, you need to dress up and stuff. Look, at fine. I got to respect what they tell me. If it was me, I'd be in jeans, my hoodie or something. And then lastly, your why. Here's an example, what I'm talking about. I told you, go onto the website. On the left, I have it right there, homepage, not hidden. Page number 359, where you can't even find the bios. Right there, homepage. How it started. Growing up, I was shy and an introvert. English is my second language. At 5 years old, I became my parents' translator, et cetera, et cetera. I was on the free and reduced lunch program as a Mexican-American. This applies in American culture, what I'm about to tell you, and also in Mexican culture. As a Mexican-American, my dual cultural identity has been an asset and a liability. In the US, I'm told I'm too Mexican. In Mexico, I'm told I'm a gringo, which is Americanized. I was made to feel different. And then on the right, how it's going. It's on my homepage. And then I also have my business story. Aspida Consulting empowers you so opportunities come to you. What did I tell you about leading with your why? I don't lead with, I do career training, leadership training, LinkedIn. No, I lead with my why. And then I tell you the how and the what. See, one of the things, folks, that I pride myself in being a prac trainer. First of all, that word does not exist in the English language. I made it up. Couldn't figure out. But what that means is someone that practices what I train other people to do. All right, let's talk about your image. In this case, your online presence. Folks, let's keep things simple again here. In terms of creating content, there's really only 3 forms of content to create. Number 1 is written. Number 2, video or audio. That's it. When you create content, figure out where your strength is. I used to hate videos because I get nervous. What do I say, etc. Right? So I would write my talks, and I literally would stand behind a podium, be like with the paper printout, shaking my mouth, cotton mouth, etc., and so forth. And I don't know what happened to me, but over the years, I just became a lazy writer, and now I can flip on that camera and just let it out. But start with your strength, and then eventually you can progress from there if you want to. Now, when you share content, I don't care what platform it is, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever, on your website, follow what I call the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is you share a third of your content is about your personal brand. Number 2, industry information, again, relative to the work that you do. And then number 3, other people's content, again, relative to what you do. I have some people that, you know, even on LinkedIn, they talk about get out the vote, etc. That's not part, I believe in it, but that's not part of my brand. So therefore, I don't share, I don't talk about getting out the vote. Where can you find content? You can create some news alerts. I'm sure there's apps that, you know, some news apps where you can create some like hashtags. All right. Other social media platforms or following certain hashtags. Or number 3, create it yourself. How do you create content, Oscar? Let me show you some examples. On the left, I have a daily show on LinkedIn called, weekly show called Career Talk with OG. And so we created the image on the left to promote one of my talks, shared it on Instagram, and then also on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn in the middle, we did the live event. It's video recorded. So what we do then is we take that video recorded or the audio portion and we share it on my podcast. You see how like out of one event, multiple? It's like grocery shopping. Do you go grocery shopping every single meal? Or do you go like maybe once a week, buy what you need? Or if you're like me, once every 6 months because I don't cook. Right? But you have ingredients, so now you have options. Also, folks, maximize opportunities. In January, I was in Cancun, Mexico, on the beach, and I messed up on my calendar. I had a Zoom call with this gentleman here. And I was like, oh, shoot. And to get back home, I wasn't going to make it back home. So I'm glad for technology. I have the Zoom app on my phone, and I took the call. Honestly, I was on the beach wearing shorts, okay, getting ready to go in the water. And he sees the background. He's like, Oscar, where you at? And I'm like, this is the real background, okay? This is not no fake image here. And I told him, I said, listen, I apologize, okay? It was no big deal to him. But I took a screenshot of our Zoom call, and I said, multinational living and working, Zoom to snorkeling, Silicon Valley, Cancun. And I turned it into a little video. There's me right afterwards. Okay. Zoom to snorkeling. I just took advantage of the opportunity. Can I tell you also something? I do not have a marketing degree. I was a history major in college. Those of you that are marketing, I'm running circles around you. Because you're over here trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to connect with your heart. That was a clue right there, folks. Very important what I just said. There's another one. Maybe create an online portfolio, a website, a personal website that highlights your skill set, your experience. You went to photography
software developer, etc. Create a website, simple website where you can highlight, like my friend Zane, your expertise. You can send it to a potential employer opportunity, or eventually Google search picks it up, SEO. No SEO, search engine optimization. Right? Here he is again, talking about himself, right, on his portfolio. It's very simple, complicated. He has examples of his work, having worked at General Motors, etc. and so forth. Put a video up there. I'm like, good for him. Also, when you share content, it's not just about just posting stuff. It's also not just about having a gazillion followers. I just posted the other day on LinkedIn. I have 11,000 quote unquote followers on LinkedIn. Can I tell you the truth is I don't care. Because I'm not looking for followers, I'm looking for leaders. And how do you create leaders, or how do you find leaders? By engaging with them. Here's a post that I did about 3 or 4 days ago, coming to your beautiful country on LinkedIn. Turn the impossible into possible. 4 weeks ago, I received an invitation to deliver a keynote in a series of workshops at Global Entrepreneurship Week in Pakistan. I am a big dreamer. Never in my wildest dreams did I dream of traveling to Pakistan to speak. Today, I was a keynote speaker at the Global Entrepreneurship Week event hosted in collaboration with the National Incubation Center, Karachi, in partnership with the U.S. Consulate General in Karachi. 6 years ago, I volunteered to do a LinkedIn workshop at the local library. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine this workshop will lead to speaking on the world stage. Over the years, I learned to continually step out of my comfort zone. This has given me clarity, increased self-confidence. I've learned to embrace fear. I've learned to embrace risk in spite of fear. Most importantly, I've learned to live in active faith. And it's still going. This was, again, a screenshot that I took about, whatever, 3 or 4 days ago, but 54 people so far, more than that now, more than 24 comments. That's the image that I created. Now, one thing, for example, on LinkedIn, you're not going to get the high number of engagement that you would like on Instagram and Facebook. But I would rather have 24 of you, amazing, incredible people, than a bunch of you know what on Facebook. But all they talk about is what they have for lunch. Okay, final thoughts, and I'm going to open up to some questions here. Folks, like a brand, I mentioned this earlier, don't aim to impress others. Inspire them through your imperfections. That's really what I do. I come over here and I travel the world letting people know how much of a goofball, how much I screwed up in life. And I have overcome those. That's it. That's really my message. Here's my contact information. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to the podcast. Bottom left is my email, website. Like, I'm really accessible. Sometimes I think to a fault, because sometimes people take advantage of me. They just connect with me because they want something. You know what? Do whatever you want. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to give to you unconditionally. Because I know what happens. I plant good seeds, good seeds, good seeds. What kind of a harvest am I going to get? A good harvest or a bad harvest? Good harvest. Yeah. That's why you do whatever it is that you want to, folks. I will continue to give unconditionally. Okay. Thank you for having me here. I want to open it up to any questions that you may have.
We have a raise a hand. Who wants to go first? Any questions?
I have a question for you. What is one thing that you are walking away today? Who wants to start?
I really like the part where you mentioned how we need to focus on our core values to realize what is motivating us. And I feel like this is the part where I've been struggling a lot, and I've been looking for this answer all along. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And can I tell you something? Many of us struggle with it. So don't think that your struggle is a weakness or that you are behind other people. It's just that some people, a lot of people actually are good at masking their struggle. But deep down inside, they're hurting. Thank you. What else? Anyone else who wants to share what you're walking away with today?
I have a question. I want to ask you about fund brand. It's food business, we're like Yelp for Pakistan. So what I'm trying to figure out right now is whether my LinkedIn should be accommodating or fun, or whether it should be professional and I want investment. But should my LinkedIn be catering to investors or the general public that I want on the platform? Obviously, Instagram and Facebook, we know how to have that, but specifically LinkedIn.
Yes, great question too. So LinkedIn also, like on other social media platforms, gives us the ability to have a company page and then your personal page. But LinkedIn, when it started as a personal or as a site for your personal career accomplishments. So that's number one. Number two, though, realize that until our company grows to multi-million-dollar big, people will buy from you. What is your name, sir? Janine. They will buy from you before they buy from your company, or they will invest before they invest in your company. I get invited because of Oscar Garcia, not because I'm a speaker consultant. So therefore, I'm focusing right now, and maybe a year from now, maybe 5 years from now, it will change. But right now, my energy is on building my Oscar Garcia brand, because then people then go on to a speaker consultant. Does that make sense, sir? Hello.
Conversation is important. That is the main thing. Reasons for why. This I think we are most product, and we are not focusing on ourselves better. So
Yeah.
this is the great thing which I see, that how we create ourselves, show the world that what we are actually.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. He brings up a really good point. Focus on yourself, folks. Focus on your brand. Again, many of us are focused on that business brand. And I'm not saying it's one or the other. We have to do both. But if, as far as spending more time, like I mentioned, until your business really grows really big, it's you. So the question is, how do you differentiate personal branding and professional branding? In my opinion, I don't. I don't differentiate it. Like I shared, and you saw, again, you go on my website, it's Oscar Garcia. I'm talking about my story. What it is this is a struggle that many of us have. Even I've had the struggle, and even I still, to this day, because I'm married, okay, is that genuineness and authenticity. Okay, that genuineness that we often struggle. Like, I'm not here to tell you that all of a sudden you have to like take this giant weed and like air out all your dirty laundry. No, take a little baby step. Take a little baby step. Think about when you first meet someone for the very first time and you begin to develop that relationship, that friendship. You might just where you work, where you went to school, and then you get to develop, earn that trust, and then now eventually you might share something personal, and then they share something personal. It's like this relationship is like a ladder. Right? Like the steps that keep going up, but take these little baby steps. But I don't see a difference.